I'm here with Graham Bartlett, former commander of Brighton and Hove Police and my co-author of my first non-fiction book, Death Comes Knocking, Policing Roy Grace's Brighton. We recently asked you on social media if you'd like to send in any questions about the book or any other aspects that you would like. And we're here right now to answer those questions.
So, hello Gary Ashton, you've asked how much paperwork and how much time is involved in ensuring accuracy in a murder investigation. Well, in terms of paperwork first, that can be box files and box files, as it's really important for the police to get the evidence absolutely right to put before the jury. In terms of time, in the initial stages, you can have 30 or 40 officers sometimes working for 2 weeks, almost without a break, and then it'll dissipate down until the trial.
Claire McLean, you've asked me why I wanted to write this book. Well, the reason is that so many of all of you, my fabulous fans, have been emailing me for many years asking why I don't perhaps write a book about the research I do behind my Roy Grace novels. And so that is why Graham and I have got together on Death Comes Knocking.
So, Nicholas Taylor, you've asked who I believe Roy Grace is based on. Well, Roy Grace is based on a very good friend and ex-colleague of mine, David Gaylor, who retired as a Detective Chief Superintendent a few years before I did. Over time, I think Peter's created a composite of a number of officers to give Roy Grace that character and style that we all love.
Question from Glynis Harbrom. When will I reveal the title of Roy Grace 13? Glynis, I will reveal you the title the moment I have it. We have a long board covered in dead titles right now, and hopefully we're getting closer.
So Martin Walsh, you've asked me what's my favourite police-related film or TV show. Well, I'm a bit of a stickler for accuracy and authenticity. So my favourite one at the moment is Happy Valley. I think that's an incredibly exciting story with very believable characters, and I can't ever stop watching it.
Amy Squants, you say you've pre-ordered Death Comes Knocking and you want to know when the 13th Roy Grace will be published. Well, I'm delighted that you've pre-ordered it. I really hope you enjoy Death Comes Knocking. And in terms of Roy Grace 13, it will be June next year, so June 2017.
John Roberts, you've asked me whether Death Comes Knocking, Policing Roy Grace's Brighton is written in the first or third person. Well, of course, the book is about what it feels like and what it is to be a police officer in Brighton and Hove. So a lot of it is written in the first person, but there's also quite large parts of it written in the third person, so I think you'll get on with all of it.
Georgie McLean has asked, do I wear pyjamas? Playboy once defined pyjamas as something that should be kept by the bed in case of fire.
Ross Duncton, you've said you're really interested in police memorabilia and ask whether or not I like to wear any old police uniforms. Well, after 30 years, I think I've worn enough uniforms, but I too love police memorabilia, and you can see behind us, Peter is an avid collector too. But if you really want to see a good collection of police memorabilia, I recommend you visit the place where we launched Death Comes Knocking, which is the old Police Cells Museum in Brighton. It's in the basement of the town hall in the old police station. It's a fascinating place. I do recommend it.
Alan Lilly has asked, is Roy Grace coming to television? If so, when and who will be in it? The answer is it is in slow development right now, and as soon as there are positive advances that I can announce, I will be announcing them.
Hi, Fiona Cobb. You've asked whether, with all of the technology and data available, has that taken over from good old-fashioned coppering? I think the good copper really still has that suspicious mind, that edge, that ability to look at things from a different angle, and the technology and the data available has only given them more places to look. So I think it's a bit of both.
Kathleen DeHora, you said you've really enjoyed Cold Hill and Love You Dead and you can't wait to read Death Comes Knocking, and that you're coming to Brighton in October. Do check my appearances out, because I have the paperback of Love You Dead out in October, and I will undoubtedly be doing some signings, and quite probably some with Graham as well for Death Comes Knocking. You've asked me about fish restaurants. There are some good fish restaurants in Brighton. My two absolute favourites are English's, lovely old-fashioned family-run restaurant, just fabulous, and the other is GB1 at the Grand. Both are fab. Rachel Edwards, you managed to get hold of a copy of Love You Dead in Australia, the head of publication there, and you're saying you read it in a day, loved it, and now what? Death Comes Knocking, Policing Roy Grace's Brighton. That, I know, is coming out in Australia in August, and I think you'd find it really interesting if you love the Roy Grace books.
Hi, Chris Diplock. You've asked me why I wrote Death Comes Knocking, Policing Roy Grace's Brighton. Well, I wanted to work with Peter to be able to show to readers how authentic the Roy Grace novels are and where Peter goes for his research. I also wanted to show people what it actually feels like to be spending 30 years in Brighton and Hove, dealing with all of the things that officers have to deal with, how it affects you and how you get through that.
Derry Dines, you say you love the plays of The Perfect Murder and Dead Simple. Will there be another play? There will indeed. Not Dead Enough opens in Brighton late January and will be on a 24-week national tour. Just check out the website. I hope you found our answers informative, and if you have any more questions for Graham or myself on anything about this book or aspects of writing or anything else at all, please post them in the comment box below.